let's get started with today's presentation. So today it's about popular questions about the online job fair, which last week I hosted on LinkedIn an event about this with a presentation, and I thought that I do again come back because I had some companies ask me questions, and I guess they're not alone with that. And so I, kind of make those answers now available to them. Quickly want to start with why meeting C++ is for you the right way to hire, right? I have a lot of reach into the community, and this is an untapped possibility for you as a company to kind of, use. And I'm happy to work with many companies to bring you more into the reach of the community, have you more visible for those folks which are looking for C++ jobs. And that's the whole concept, that I want to bring those who are looking together with those who have open positions. And that's why I organize this online fair, and what the whole concept is about, to give interest to both sides and then bring them together and give them a chance to find their jobs, and the other side can fill their positions, right? Win-win. I do want to start with a quick word for the candidates, because I see it always when I do that, there's a lot of candidates go to the page and submit the form. Right now, there is no employers listed on the form which are actually part of the job fair, okay? Because no one has currently went through the process to sign up for this. And so it is best to wait shortly before the event and then submit your CV if you can do that. And generally submitting during or after the event is best. If you go to the event, you can just, submit your CV or the resume over the form on the day before the event and have the companies know at your profiles, And so I'm trying to explain now a lot of things which I have been asked, and a lot of that is probably also very, very common for me because I'm the organizer. So I kind of try to point out the things which are too obvious to me to actually mention. So I do this, which the first question is how often do I organize this? I do this every quarter. That's the plan. Sometimes it happens that companies can't make a date, like it happened in May. Some companies couldn't make that date, but have an interest to organize or to be at another event in that quarter. And so that's why we had in June another job fair, which was attended then by 2 companies. And so we have now 5 job fairs. And in the third quarter, of course, we didn't have one because I moved that to the next 2 weeks. And so actually today would have been the job fair, right? But I moved that to 4th and 5th October. And of course, the online job fair is online, right? It's hosted in Hobilo, and it's hosted in a lounge, in an online lounge, which has tables as interfaces present. The first day is in the afternoon, and the second day is in the evening for Europe. I kind of think Berlin time zone, right? Or Amsterdam. And so we are in the Central European time zone for those times, but candidates are usually not bothered by that. We on both times have often people coming from India to North America. So this is kind of to have and also be better distributed in time zones, that we have an evening event where people from North America and South America, which we both have, by the way, have it easier to come to the conference, not to the conference, but to the event than the afternoon event. And I don't want to host it on the same day because talking 3 hours to candidates can be very tiring. Then, of course, this table concept is new to many people, and so I want to explain it. The table is where you sit on during the event. It's a virtual table, and if you sit there alone, nothing happens. You just think, why am I sitting here? But if a second person is joining, or a third person, fourth person, then with a second person, you get into table mode, and you get to have a video conference with them, which lasts an hour. And people actually can and will join that ongoing video conferences. So if there's a video conference on a table ongoing, you still can join it. It's not like, locked by the beginning. And as you see, those tables were full in the last job fair, and they had 8 seats. They also exist in a 4-seat configuration and a 2-seat configuration. Those seats include the folks you send to the event, right? Which is like one of the questions I got: how many recruiters can we send? I do not limit you in that part. Okay, that is up to you. I want to point that out, that that is your decision. The table size is kind of your limit at the same time, because if you send 8 recruiters to a table of 8, no one is going to join your table, right? Also, if you have 4 recruiters on a table of 8, people might not be able to see that those are all recruiters waiting for a candidate, and might think that already candidates have joined that table and might prefer to use their time to talk to a different company which only has 2 recruiters sitting and is waiting. And so it's difficult to answer. What I've seen the successful companies do is send a recruiter and a technical engineer, which this is very important, by the way, that you should have someone who knows the open position and knows the hiring site, but also somebody that knows something about your code base. Because people which we attract are well known in C++. They know their C++, and they probably have technical questions about your code base. They want to know, like, what C++ do you write? What standard do you use? What libraries do you use? And I can understand that recruiters usually are not totally able to understand or answer those questions. So have someone technical with you. That is a good concept. Then on the other hand, have team leads. And I do see some companies, if you have a bigger hiring team and a bigger technical team, which you can allocate for the event, then do this in shifts, so that one person sits for 1 or 2 hours, and some people might need to leave for a meeting. And that's also why I don't want to limit you artificially and need to, have you register in a certain amount or a certain way for the event. That's not the case. Which, I want to point out the cost quickly, because I also got the questions about that. If you attend only one day as a company, that costs $499. So that's the price. If you attend for 2 days, that's $699. And if you cannot make it with recruiters and your folk to the conference and just want to be listed, that's also €499 for companies. Okay. For candidates, that's free. You want to point that out. You don't have to pay as a candidate. And also prices are exclusive VAT, which I want to point out. And to reach this, in Germany, I have to add VAT to this price. So you will have to add 90% in your head for that if you're from Germany. If you're from EU, reverse charge applies. And if neither that applies, then just that is what the price is, right? But that's just a standard thing from invoicing, which probably the person which fills out the form is used to. And then I have the question, like, if there's any additional cost coming towards you, if there's any footnotes, anything which is hidden in small print. And I want to say no to that. I'm honest, and I'm important to me, because I'm looking for companies to work with in the long run. And so there is no way that I charge you for additional recruiters coming to the event, or I need to switch someone. I don't do that. The same thing is receiving resumes. I'm mailing them to the address you gave me in the form, and this is included. And from then up, it's practically up to you what you do, right? I hope you contact the candidates. That'd be nice. But I also understand that some companies receiving like 30 or 40 candidates is a bit too much for them, and so they only prefer to contact the candidates which they're interested in. And I can't really influence you on that point. So again, that's up to you. of course, I want to also kind of tell you where to book. There's the link that you find on the website. This is a booking form. It's a 2-page form. First form asks you after the name. Not every company has their company name on the table. Maybe you're from a different part of your company, which has a different name than the part which is paying, So here you can select what type of table you want, what relocation you support for your company, and what remote job availability is for your company. This will be visible to candidates. And then on the second page, you give me the link, the contact email, the email where I sent the CVs to. There is an optional link to your job or candidate portal. That's what some companies have. And then there's the option to disable the email notification that I don't send you the CVs per email. Be very careful with that. Don't do that because you're probably wondering why you don't get any candidates or why candidates don't show up to your job portal. I can't literally make them magically go to your portal. I will display the link, and that's what I can do for you. And then there's a title for your employer description and the employer description itself. And I want to point out, if you coming back to the event, I already do have your logo, right? And it's already uploaded on the platform, so it will show as it shows there. If you're coming for the first time, then just have to share your logo with me there. And that's also how I get your logo and can use your logo for promotion for the event. I want to point out again then, this booking then lists you on the website, which is a job fair, of course, but also the job page, and lists you on the CV sharing form. And for the last two, the listing is for 6 months from the start of your booking. So from the date you book, for 6 months, you're on the job page and the CV sharing form listed, which includes events which happen during this time, which this year, for example, could be the conference for this job fair. And also you'd be listed for the job fair, which will be in November, on the CV sharing form, not on the job fair page, because that you would have to book again. And then you again would be for half a year on there, okay? This is the candidate view for the sharing form, where they share their resumes. They have to select from the continent they are on or where they are currently based, their availability in relocation and remote work, the various skills they have on C++, which are interesting to you as an employer, which they think you should know. And then they also give an indication in which fields they have worked and which fields they have experience with, which creates a light profile together with the years of experience to give you an overview on the candidate on the first glance. And on the next page, they get to upload their CV, and then they choose also the candidate. The companies are chosen by the candidate, right? That's what the next thing what they do. And then they add a letter. Maybe not every candidate does that, but maybe they add a letter to you, and then they send the form. And the next thing then is that I check this manually and hit a link to forward the resumes per email to you. Another popular question has been how many candidates do you get? And I was like, depends. So for last year, and this is the 4, the 70 and the 80. The 70 event is last year's September event. No, that's the first event. This is all events which we had since 2020, October. So from left to right, it's October 2020. No, wait. Well, the last one is no, wait, that's true. October 2020 is not on this form, but the first 2 on this form are 2021. And then we get into September 2021, which is the one where we had 80, and then the November event, then the first event in this year, and then the two events which were in the same quarter in this year. So when we have two events in the same quarter, which are back to back, and only have a few companies attend, we don't have as many candidates coming. But this, again, attending companies have a huge influence of which part of the audience shows up. Yes, I can advertise this, and I can only advertise it if you sign up early enough, because when the job fair happens, that's when people come. So it's also like another important point I want to make is like sign up early, so I can advertise that your company is coming to the event. And then there are sponsor tables, which include everything. When you're sponsored, you have a sponsor table. That's what I talked about mostly now. These are listed in the website, in the CV sharing form, and the job section. They give you access to the recruiting tooling, which I have, and enable me to advertise the event, advertise with your logo, and tell people that you as an employer exist for the community, and also kind of, the communication with you then will drive and guide my tooling for the job fair. If you have a free table, you're listed below the sponsors always. You're getting a feel for the format. That's why this event exists. I limit this to 2 events. So if you've been twice on the event with a free table, you probably want to become a sponsor anyways. And if you don't, I'm just going to, say thanks for your attention, but I don't want to really, allow companies to have this freebie forever. And the table has half the seats of what the sponsor gets. So if we, have a lot of sponsors and we go down to 4 seats for sponsors to use the space efficiently, free tables are limited to 2 spots, and so you'll be able to talk to 1 candidate as a free table. And that's already all the questions I've seen, all the things I wanted to explain about the event this time. Feel free to reach out to me via email. And also, the link is the link which leads to the job fair page on my page right now, which you also can reach over the main page, as it's linked in the upper bar. And this link also goes to the job fair during the event, and it's communicated over social media then. So thank you for your attention. And so if you have any questions in chat, as long as I'm live, that'd be the time to ask. If you have any questions regarding, from candidates or recruiters, if you want to post something to the chat, that'd be the time now. There's actually a question. Let me look. Are you going to recruit candidates? Actually, can I put that? Yes. So are you going to recruit candidates on the same day, or is it an ongoing process? I am not a recruiter. I, organize this for companies. So these companies share this, and then they are able to recruit people. So it's not like that there are interviews at the event. Some companies might do that and ask you to join their interview platform on the same day. But generally, I advise companies not to do that, because that limits your resources to a few candidates. And there's a lot more candidates coming to the event. Some companies are talking for 3 hours straight to candidates. And only bigger companies probably would have some resources to have also interviewers ready on site. But I think that generally it is on the job fair. When you visit the job fair, when you submit your CV, you will be contacted by the companies if they're interested, and they will make up a date where you get a first interview, a first test, and then the recruiting process starts. I also want to point out that Meeting C++ is then not involved anymore. I'm not a recruiting shop, and I don't bind candidates that come through Meeting C++ to a technical thing, which is that's our candidate as long as you don't hire them. Okay, that's not the case. It's I'm just the middleman, which gives the contacts, and then the rest is up to the companies. Don't want to bother with tracking candidates and saying, well, but if you hire that person, you owe me money now or something like that. I don't do that. That's just ridiculous. I'm not a recruiter and I don't plan on becoming one.